my God, it's gonna be Christmas. Like I got stuff coming on. It's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so good.
Boys.
And we're back.
Yay.
It's been 4 weeks, guys. It's season 2.
Yay.
To the Life podcast. My name is Eric. And we're still going to introduce ourselves. My name is Eric. I'm here with Tyler.
Awkward.
Tyler's there.
I'm here with Tyler.
Yo.
Benji.
What's up?
What's going on?
Welcome back, everyone. We're back. We have not left. Like, we've been here every single day
Yeah.
for the last month
No microphones.
doing stuff.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of stuff now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've made some progress, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if any of that's really relevant to this specific show, but there is things that have been done. So there you go. That's
Yeah, fair enough. It's like a lot of outside. We have like a ton of ideas. If anything, we've extended our list of things to do,
yeah.
which is always.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna start releasing the one take soon, right?
Oh yeah. That should be done soon.
Yeah, we did a lot of work on that. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So these last 4 weeks, we've had a lot of things that happened in our lives. But I guess I don't know if there's anything that anyone wants to share.
The only thing that I have, this is the issue with release schedules, is that I don't know what's going to be out by the time that this show is out. So that's the tough part. But we have been working on a bunch of different things, and it's really some cool stuff. The one takes that Tyler was mentioning, those should be out already or are going to be published either the day after this podcast or the week before, depending on whatever it is.
So keep your eyes peeled for one takes on the studio's page, not necessarily the Life podcast through YouTube, but the studio.
The studio on YouTube is where you would find those things.
I'm sure we'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, we can do that.
We have a website, guys.
We do have a website.
Yeah, we do.
I was wondering if it was done or not, but
I mean, it's done enough for me to say we have a website.
fair enough.
We need pictures.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's like published live, but it's. We have a website.
Exactly.
We have a domain name.
We do have a domain.
You know, that's why we're not going to say the name, so nobody can go to it.
Yeah. So we're working.
But in the next few episodes, I'm sure we'll have that up and ready to go.
You got to think of like Michelangelo. Like, he did marble sculptures too, right? Oh yeah, he did David. Yeah, he did David, right?
Yeah.
So like you gotta chisel away slowly. That's what we're doing here. Is we're like slowly chiseling away at the block of marble to make the masterpiece. It is a process.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I like that. That's good.
That's the metaphor.
All right, boys.
Okay, so we jumping in. Does Tyler, you wanna run it in?
No.
No.
I'm still buffering because coffee.
Fair enough.
That was good.
We're
and
talking
honest.
about
That was
fair.
sweet and
I guess that's about as legit as it gets.
Well, I mean, if we need to talk and we need to tell some stories, I don't know what happened yesterday. I took a nap at like 12:30. No, not 12:30. 1:30. I don't know. I slept from like 1:30 to like 2:30. Set my alarm. Was gonna wake up and do some stuff, and I slept. And when I woke up, I felt just so cooked. Like I couldn't even open my eyes. I don't even know. I have no idea why. But like I had to lay in bed until like 3:15. I'm trying to even think of like what time. But like seriously, I couldn't even open my eyes. So I kind of like still kind of carried over and translated into today. Like, I slept really good last night, and it was so hard waking up this morning.
Yeah. I've been struggling, honestly, with, like that. I guess a lot of people struggle with it too, so it's hopefully not just me. But
Hashtag me too.
Yeah, right. But that, like, you have lunch in the middle of the day, and then all of a sudden you're super tired.
Oh yeah.
And then it's usually fine when you actually have a real job, and you go back into work. You have to work. You have a boss. You have things to do. For me, it's like you have a lot of time to just go way down. You just really have to fight yourself.
You need me to call you at like
no,
like 1 o'clock? Like, hey, how are those reports coming?
So right, leave me alone.
Need an accountability partner.
Right. So and then I'm like, I read this. Like I literally looked into it. I was like, is this something that I'm eating? And and then I looked into like this. I found this like list of like 16 things that you shouldn't eat that makes you tired.
Is that coming onto the podcast?
Yeah, no, I don't think we're gonna rip that list. But I'm just like, I was blown away because like 12 of the 16 things I eat on a regular basis.
Yes.
And it was stuff that like I didn't even know. It was like flavored yogurt apparently makes you tired. Didn't know that.
I think this
bananas?
might be a bit of a oh yeah, I guess that would make
Banana make, I was like, I'm eating fruit.
sense. Yeah.
Should he sing cup de vin?
Yeah, like linguiça too. And I was like, but anyway, so it was just like kind of funny because I'm sitting there by myself reading this list, just like.
Yeah. I think it's that lull. I think that's the toughest part because it's like you're working, you're doing a lot of stuff, and then you have this lull of time, and then you have this other like peak of time, and it's like that's the tough part. It's when that lull, because you were doing so much stuff, then you sit down and you have lunch, and then you have really nothing to do, and then that's when your body's like, well, we might as well just sleep. You know.
Yeah, and then it's just like you fighting yourself, and then like it's hard to be creative when you're tired.
Yeah.
That goes one of two ways, because when you're overtired, you can be overly creative too.
But yeah, because then things just all the wrong things turn off, and then.
Fair.
Anyways, as a segue, I was talking about that predicament which came out of nowhere. Disclaimer: that has nothing to do with living a maxed out life, and that's what we're talking about today here on the Life Podcast.
Oh yeah, no regrets.
No regrets. So we rolled in season 2 show notes talking about if you died tomorrow or in 2 days. Because there's been a triple E, I guess, like outbreak or dilemma, and I guess like you live
crisis. I think they called it.
Yeah, some kind of crisis. Like you live 2 to 8 days after getting bit by a mosquito, and then you dead. Yeah. Like if you died in 2 days, with everything that's within your immediate reach, like would you have any regrets? And I'm not saying like, oh, like I'm gonna die in 2 days. I have regret because I never went to Paris, unless that was in like your immediate reach. Like, why didn't you go to Paris, or like why didn't you go to Paris within the one day that you were going to die? If that was the only thing on your docket, like, okay, that's fine. But like everything in your immediate reach, like if you died in 2 days, would you have any regrets?
Yeah, that's a tough situation for a lot of people because, you know, I know a lot of older people who say like, oh, you know, I wish I had traveled more. I wish I had done this more. I wish I had done that more. You know, and I think that it is a progressive thing. I think we all think that we're gonna live forever. You know, none of us think that we're going to die tomorrow, and we make decisions based off of I'm probably gonna live till I'm at least 65. So I got to make decisions based off of that. You know, and there is a middle ground to that where it's like I'm not going to leverage all of my current comfort to tomorrow. You know, I'm not going to shift it all down the road. But, you know, you have to have fun in the moment too.
Yeah. It's like one of those, when you think about it, if there's something that you always comes to your mind, you're like, oh, I want to start that business. I want to, or even like, I want to go to Paris. If that's like a normal thing in your mind, like do it. Just do it. It's one of those things where if like if it keeps sitting in your mind, you keep saying, no, I don't have the money now, or no, this isn't the right time to do it. It's never going to be the right time to do it. You're never going to get to a point where like now is the moment that I need to know. Like it's always going to be, there's always going to be another excuse. And if you keep letting those excuses rack up, it comes to a point where, you know, it might be your final day. We don't know what day that's going to be.
I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but life's short. Rip the Rari.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like, and we were talking last night about this topic, and I think that the core of this concept is the regret part. It's not make outlandish decisions. That's not what we're saying. We're saying don't regret the decisions that you've made. We were using the extreme example. It's like I take everything that I have and I go put it on black on roulette. Like,
don't recommend it.
And it's like not recommended. It's like that's perfectly fine to do as long as you don't complain about it if you lose.
That's it.
It's like if you lose,
consequence of your action.
Exactly. If you lose and you're like, well, I guess it is what it is, and you just walk away. Like, okay, like you played the game, you lost, and now you're okay with it. But we have to live our lives like that. It's like. If you're not going to Paris and you want to go to Paris, or you're not buying the car that you want to buy, or you're not going and doing the things that you want to do, as long as you're okay with that decision, that's fine. But don't go and regret that decision because you're the one who made the decision.
Or even think about like leveraging procrastination. Like take it on a tiny scale. It's like, okay, well, I procrastinated on all these little things that are right in my immediate reach. Like I had these 10 different projects on my desk and I procrastinated at every single one. And you die, and immediately like the first things that come to your heart after you're dead are like, oh, like I had it in my power to do these things. And it was like I didn't do any of them.
Yeah, that's deep.
It's legit.
Yeah.
I mean, like why would you want to die? And I'm not trying to like linger on the whole like death and dying part, but like why would you want to die and have like that immediate regret of like I had the ability to do all these things and I didn't do a single one? Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Les Brown. He's a motivational speaker, and one of his more famous.
They said less brownies.
Les Brown. Yeah, minus the D.
That's my rap name.
All right, write that down. But Les Brown, he's a motivational speaker, and he's one of his more famous talks was saying that he had this dream where he was laying down in a bed, and it was like his deathbed, and the spirit or the ghost of everything, of all his dreams, like all his regrets, essentially, had visited him, and they were all standing around him. It was like, you know, all the things that he wanted to do, but he decided not to do, and they all standing around him, looking at him like, why didn't you bring me to life? Like, this is like, we had the opportunity through you to bring me to life. And that like sparked something in him so that he never, like when it was something like, he didn't waste time to get it done. And I was like, that's one of his more famous talks. And that's like, it's extreme, but it's real.
I really, I mean, that's a good way to be able to illustrate. It's like if that came back to quote unquote haunt you, like would you be satisfied?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad because it's like it seems like it's not even like there's no real reason why we do it. It's more of like a social construct that we don't do certain things. It's like oh, I don't go on because we have the money for everything. Like it's like this sounds extremely aggressive, but it's like if we want to achieve something, we will make decisions in our lives that will allow us to eventually achieve that thing. It's like if like let's say you want to buy a new like a new bag or whatever. Like, you know, you make decisions in your life. You say, I'm not going to go get coffee. I'm not going to go do all of these things until I have the money to buy this thing, you know?
Or are you just going to send the black card?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or you do that, of course. But those are not necessarily the best financial decisions. But, like, the point is that you will make sacrifices in other areas of your life to achieve the things that you truly want to achieve. So if you truly want to go to Paris or you truly want to do a certain thing, you will make sacrifices in other places to achieve that thing. It's just you're not doing it because you don't want to, or you feel like there's a reason why you shouldn't. That's a personal question that you have to ask.
Yeah. And you have to separate, like, is it something that you truly, if it's something that you truly want to do, then chances are you don't care what anyone else thinks. Chances are.
Yeah.
And if there is something you truly want to do and you still care about what other people think, then you really need to reconsider how you're living your life, because that's going to slow you down from a lot of things. But it's really important to remember that, like, if I wanted to do something, whatever it is, I would carve out the time or whatever it is that I needed to do to make that happen. I would sacrifice in other areas, because that's just the way this goes. And I say starting a business because that's like what a lot of people, I think, end up in the boat of like, I wish I could do it, but I'll do it in 10 years or I'll do it in 20 years when I'm more financially stable and I can afford to take a hit if I don't make it. You know what I mean? Or if it fails, I won't, like, there's never going to be a point where you're going to be better at starting a business. There's just not. And I think that goes for a lot of things. There's no better time than now. Like, why not start going today and start putting like one foot in front of the other and start working towards what you really want in life? Because you don't know when the last day is. There's you get bit by a mosquito and all of a sudden 2 to 10 days later you have a 33% chance of dying.
You'd be dead before your Amazon package comes in.
And that is saying something. They are fast.
No, but it's legit. And basically, I guess to wrap up everything that you were saying, it's just you got to redeem your time. And if it's a priority on your docket, then make sure that it's actually a priority.
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess I need another cup of coffee. So I guess that's it for.
We'll be back in a couple of seconds. Well, for you, it'll just be a nice little ad break. But for us, we'll be back soon.
Stay tuned.
We would like to thank Anchor for sponsoring and hosting the Life podcast. So who are Anchor and what do they do? Anchor is the all-in-one platform that gives you everything you need to make and publish your podcast. And best of all, it's all free. Anchor allows you to use their creative tools to record and edit your podcast. No need for any fancy professional equipment. Sounds amazing, right? And we haven't even gotten to the best part. Anchor isn't just a recording and editing platform. They're a publisher too. This means that Anchor takes care of all of the hard stuff, like publishing to Apple and Google Podcasts, so you don't have to. So what are you waiting for? Download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Another thanks to Anchor for hosting, publishing, and sponsoring the Life podcast. Now no longer have any larger mountains to climb because I climbed Everest and now I'm done. Like, what do I do with my life now? Do I climb all the other mountains again or do I climb Everest again? Like, it's like...
Try and just repeat the cycle.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's so much of a bigger topic, though. It's like, what truly does satisfy at the end of the day?
Oh, we talk about this all... Like, my dad says this all the time. He's like, live in the moment, not for the moment. And what that means is, like, don't chase the waterfall. Like, don't chase, like, the things that you want to achieve. Like, look at where you are right now. Are you happy right now? What is the moment that you're in right now? Like, be happy with what you have, you know? Mm-hmm. Always try to strive for more because we're not guaranteed if we have tomorrow or not. So, you know, always strive to push higher. But don't be sad because you haven't gotten to something, or don't live only for an event. Like, don't book a trip, live for that event, and then when you're there, start thinking about back home.
Yeah, right.
You know, because that defeats the purpose of even going.
Yeah.
I've like walked this, I guess, walk or dance for a while, and it's really, really weird. But like, I could go do an extravagant thing, some awesome event, or some like amazing thing, and be like, okay, this is cool, this is fine. But then the other night when you guys came over, I think it was like Saturday, and we all just hung out at the table, and we just we just talked and laughed for like hours.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't stop telling Becky, like driving home, like, I had so much fun. Like, I had so much fun that Saturday, but we could go and do something stupid and extravagant that people would be like, that's the most amazing thing of my life. I'd be like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Like, this is okay.
Yeah.
But something so, like, insignificant, because I lived in that moment, and I was living in that moment. That was so amazing to me. Yeah. And it's funny, like, people like, oh, like, I love Christmas, and I love Thanksgiving, and I love all these pre-programmed holidays and stuff. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ooh, I just lost audio for a second.
Oh, no bueno.
Weird. Anyways, but it's like, yeah, I like, okay, that's fine. It's all pre-programmed and pre-packaged, but I don't know. It's those little things. When you are so present in a moment, like, I could not find any more joy than, like, just the simple things of hanging out Saturday.
That's so important, is like being present and living in the moment. Finding presence is like, that was something I at one point struggled with. Like, I always had my mind on the next
Christmas, finding all the presents.
Yeah. You're so focused on what's coming tomorrow that you forget to enjoy today. And that's like, sounds cheesy and like it should be on like a Hallmark card, but it's true. You have to appreciate the moments that you're living today, the moment that you're in right now, the people that you're surrounded with now, and make the most of it. And that's what makes life worth it.
Hey, I don't know how you guys felt, but when I was a kid, I used to get so jammed up, and I had to like teach myself not to. Like, if I started thinking about Christmas a little too early, I would not be able to sleep. Like, I would get like, I'm serious. Like, that's the best description I can get. It's like, I'd get jammed up. I'd be like, oh my God, it's gonna be Christmas. Like, I got stuff coming on. It's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so good. And like, if I started getting too excited too early, like, I would be cooked and not sleep for like a week.
It's like
August.
It's October.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
Nah, it's legit though. But then like, I had to teach myself to like not get excited for anything, and like that's the way I prepare, or have to prepare for, like, especially like big events or like things that will make you get anxious or like really hyper excited. I don't think about it, and I don't get excited at all. People are like, what's the matter? Like, you're not excited? I'm like, listen, there's a strategy behind this. I can't get excited right now. Leave me alone. though.
And I used to have the same issue too, and I have the same strategy now. It's like I just don't think I hate that feeling of anxiety that you get. That just like you're amped up and you're so excited for that, even though it's like 3 weeks away and
You're all jammed up about it.
Yeah, I hate that too. So you just have to like remove that from your mind and pretend like it's not coming.
It doesn't even exist. Yeah, it doesn't even happen.
It's interesting because a lot of people do that in a lot of different areas in their life, where they live for the excitement of the concept rather than the concept itself. Where it's all like, oh, like they'll have a birthday or they'll have a plan, like a trip planned, and then they'll be like so excited for that event, and then the event itself doesn't matter to them. Like they don't even really like enjoy the event itself.
Yeah, right.
It was just more the hype up to it.
They just sit there in the corner.
It's the dopamine of thinking about it until it happens.
Yeah.
Then you
Exactly.
complain about the food.
Yeah, and then you complain about the food and say hi to nobody and sit in the corner.
Yeah,
Jeez.
basically.
Something else that we were talking about. Can somebody pull up the show notes?
You don't have it on here.
I do, but we got the GoPro rolling.
Okay, here you go.
What was it? Oh, we were talking about like balancing maxed out lives too, and that was another big place of that. Like we are all living at full capacity, max capacity.
That's the only way to live.
No, and it really, honestly, it's the only way to live because you have no regrets. If you can get your priorities in order correctly, that is a big thing. Order your priorities and just do. As we've been off on this podcast, we've still met every single day. We've still accomplished something every single day. We've always put our hands to the plow and said, okay, what's next and what's in the present now? How can we redeem this time? And all of us, I mean, we're leveraging that time. And there are definitely certain strategies about living a maxed out life, because a lot of people, you can be maxed out for 2, 3, 4 days, even like a week or two, and then you're cooked because you went over. I mean, all of us are pretty much maxed out. Does anybody have anything that they'd want to encourage people if they want to maximize their time?
Yeah, understand the difference between being busy and being productive.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people who live maxed out, quote unquote, maxed out lives, and they're just busy all the time. But they're not really working towards anything. Their time is just filled with a bunch of stuff. Like I have to take the dog to the dentist because your dog goes to the dentist, and you have to like. There's that commercial. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was like. It's just some cheesy commercial where she's like trying to book an appointment and she has an entire calendar and it's like filled up like every box and she's like trying to find a place to put this next thing in. But like a lot of people live like that, especially in like bigger cities, and that's just the lifestyle there. But you have to understand the difference between being busy and actually being productive, and what are you completing and what are you.
That was it, boys.
Okay.
Nice.
So that was the one ball that I dropped. Sorry to cut you off. No, I forgot to charge it overnight. So I was like, 32% should get us through the show.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, no, we got.
But that's true. That it is so true. Where it's like being maxed out doesn't mean every single second of every single day is full. It means that you are being when you decide to do something, you are being actively participating in the thing that you're participating in, and you're maxed out productivity-wise in that event. It's not saying, okay, I'm not productive 24 hours a day. I'm just not, because I sleep at least 6 or 8 of them, so it's like, and then you drive a certain amount, like it's not productive. So like if somebody was to look at my schedule, like if there was a time chart of this time that I do, there'd be massive peaks of productivity and then like these troughs of just time.
Yeah.
But you're maxed out when you can be.
Yeah.
It's like there is no idling. There's no like either the car's off or it's pinned to the floor. Like those are the only two options, And there are situations where you can't be productive, where it's like when you're working for somebody else and there's a maximum productivity level that they have, and like you're based off of somebody else's productivity, and you're like, okay, I'm operating at 30-40%, and it's like this person's apparently maxed out, but that's not really my problem.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, sometimes you are limited by other people's ceilings. But I think those are two very good tips. I like it.
No, yeah.
No.
My mom's famous for that. No, but yeah. That's that's number one. It's like I want to agree with your point, but I'm gonna start with no first.
Yeah.
It's like what? Anyways,
you're right, but you're wrong.
But you're right. Talking about maxed out too, and talking about rest, there are times like that. That's why I led with the disclaimer. Taking that nap yesterday, like it'd be one thing if I was actually exhausted. Like I wasn't actually exhausted. I mean, it's one thing. I definitely know, like, to find the line of how much you can actually handle, you have to step on the line.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this thing for for already quite a few years now, so I know what my limits are. I know when I get too tired. To be able to leverage a maxed out life, like you'll know how much rest your body needs and requires, and you'll have to be forced to stop. We had a show in season 1, and it talks about like, you know, if you don't make time for your how did that go? You don't remember what I'm talking about? It's like if you don't make time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your sickness.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that.
Along
It's basically
those
like
lines,
and if your phone's not at 100%, you have to start. If you're maxed out, you have to have a phone at 100%. I mean, I wish I took that lesson from the GoPro last night. At least I brought it. Come on, guys.
Yeah, no, it's good.
We'll still send it out to Patreon. But like if you're not starting your day at 100%, like, and you cook it a little too hard that day, you have to go back and actually like make up that time so you can start the next day at 100%. A lot of people will make that problem, and I mean I've encountered it 1,000 times living this quote unquote hashtag maxed out life. But it's like, okay, well, you're maxed out. You know you need 6 hours of sleep, and you cook it a little too hard the day before, and you're rolling on 5 hours of sleep. It's like that 5 hours it makes a difference, and you're going to have to force yourself to now be a little less productive than you were the day before because you need to catch up on that rest, or else you're going to be forced into catching up like a whole day, and you're still not going to feel good.
Yeah, food, rest, these are like and even staying something as simple and hard as staying hydrated.
Oh yeah, drink water.
Yeah, the smallest dehydration will make you unproductive. Like that alone will throw you off. So you have to maintain it's like a car. You have to maintain it. You have to do the little things. You have to eat. You have to drink, and you have to sleep. Enough sleep for your body. Everyone has a different sleep counter, so don't ask me how long to sleep. However you feel is important, but go ahead.
There's also something about being selective about what you add to your plate. You know, because if you're maxed out, if the plate's full, you got to take something off to put something on. So it's like if you're already maxed out in the things that you do, or if you become maxed out, it's when people come to you with like ideas or things that they want you to help them with, you have to then selectively say, is this worth my time? And just having that mindset of, is this productive in the long run for me, or is this productive in the moment for me, is very important.
Yeah, it's not beneficial to be a yes man.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It's so dangerous to be a yes man. That's like the number one way to waste time. And I think that's probably a big way that a lot of us waste time is saying yes to too many things that we probably have no business being in. A lot of it, it's just like, oh yeah, I just wanted to be a good person, so I said yes. And that's fine, but you have to be very aware of how much time that takes and what that's taking away from, because we make time, but it doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes out of other places.
Yeah. And it's important to realize, like, it's tough for, like, 3 people like us who do this on a daily basis to understand that some people don't want to do this. I had somebody come up to me yesterday and say, like, we had this, like, a very short conversation. I was like, oh, you got to live maxed out. And he was all like, no, I'm not a fan of that concept. Like, no, not that maxed out. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. But like, because to me, it's like a common concept. Like, why would you
normal.
not?
Yeah, like why don't you drive it to the limit?
Yeah, exactly. Why would you not max out every second that you possibly could? But there are people who don't want to do it, and I guess there's nothing wrong with that as long as you don't regret it at the end of the day.
On a side note, like we were talking about, like being weird, like, and that one thing that as I get older, it gets so much more prevalent. Like that whole like, oh, this is a big day, but it's like, okay, yay, woo. Like that's not that I didn't have fun, but like when you live in those little moments, like I was saying, I had an amazing time doing just something that we do on a normal basis, but I just had so much fun. I don't know where that fun really came from. Another thing I want to do as I get older, it's like I want to destroy the social constructs of social obligation, because we as people, like, we get ourselves into so many sticky messes, or like living maxed out. It's like, okay, well, now I have to be a yes man because of social construct or because of social obligation, when really the most profitable thing for everybody would be for you to be like, nah, I can't.
We were talking about that yesterday. We were saying, like, oh, like, why do people, like, why can't we all just be straight out? Like, why can't we just all be, like, legit with each other? Like, I think that the world would be so much easier if it was like that. Like, it's all like, do you want to go to this event? No, I don't want to go to this event. Like, oh, okay. Like, that's fine.
Yeah,
Like,
go ahead.
Or even leverage it with like, no, I don't, but because I like. It's one thing like, no, I don't, but I love you, so I will.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, of course. There's like
a place for that,
situations, yeah.
But like on like a small scale, like
Yeah.
it's like you're socially obligated to come and do this thing. It's like I don't think so, buddy.
Yeah, I mean that happens all the time where someone has like this event and it's just like this is like the third event you've had in this month. Like what? No, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
And then and that should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
That should be just fine and okay. But it's like now you have to deal with this social construct of the other side of it, where like this person's gonna get offended because you said no, and it's like when did I become obligated to do this? And that's I guess that comes back to like drawing your lines.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's people being afraid to draw lines, because whenever you pull for yourself, I was talking with Jose about this, but like it could be something as small as going like and not wanting to order lunch with everybody anymore. But it's like once you start pulling for your side, people are gonna get uncomfortable and they're gonna pull back.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
absolutely.
But you gotta have lines. If you're gonna live a maxed out lifestyle, you have to have lanes, because you gotta be traveling in one direction. You can't be maxed out and going in circles. It's like. That's
Say
the
that
thing.
again. Absolutely.
That's gonna be a picture.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's like if that's your issue, if you're traveling in circles and you're wondering why, like, oh, I'm living a maxed out lifestyle, but I'm just keep going in circles.
You keep hopping on
can't.
You keep hopping on the same exits.
Exactly.
And you just keep doing this like weird 8 loop. Yeah. A lot of people do pull for like they're living maxed out lives, but their life isn't going in one direction. And what you have is a lot of struggle.
You turn into a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest. And
Boom.
Great. And on that note, the Ducks are here.
We'll be back.
Stay tuned.
Just flag the entire thing. It's like, why do you? What? Nobody wants to be part of a group chat.
No, especially not a group email. Like
you plus 700 other people you don't know.
Yeah.
No,
I don't like the idea of being a part of a group chat that you can't like do not disturb.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
that's the problem.
That's why you got to get on the iPhone level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you get one person with an Android. That's
Dude,
it. It's cooked.
dude.
Leave me alone. Like now my phone is. I mean, not that it's never been permanently on silent, but
I know we all have iPhones, but have you ever tried to remove a group chat or remove someone from a group chat that happened to have an Android?
no, you
No,
can't,
you
because you can't.
You can't.
There
remove
is-
them.
Because they permanently have it, so
Yeah.
anytime they respond to it, it's like you start the group chat over again.
Android. These are the little things that you can do to make yourself a little better.
or just not cut yourself off from the rest of the world. Like I understand that technically the iPhones are the majority of the share market, but whatever. It's like you could make it just so much better. Like you could definitely like integrate better with that one feature would save so much headache.
Oh my. Yes.
And coming from experience, like if somebody bashes an iPhone or they get all bent out of shape about iPhone, no, never iPhone, and all this stuff, that comes from a place of ignorance. Because once you really taste and see now the level that Apple's at, maybe when iPhone first came out, you could be like, oh yeah, this stinks or whatever. Like anything past like iPhone 6,
Yeah.
you can't compare, you can't compete, and you can't go back.
Yeah, I agree.
Even just the simple, we're gonna change this topic, but because I nonetheless, but even the simple idea of just changing the name of the group chat,
Yeah.
so that it's not just random people's phone numbers.
Yeah.
Like that's nice. Like the idea, like I don't understand how you figure out what group chat you're texting if you don't have a name for it.
I mean, unless Apple has like some like trademark pending thing going on where Android's just not allowed to do any of this, but
I mean, it's not SMS. So it's SMS is the framework that iMessage is based off of, but iMessage is a different piece of software. It's an application. It's not. When you send an iMessage, you're not sending a text message. You're sending it's like a data packet.
But that's beautiful too. At the same time, because you're like, I don't even need service to send a text message.
Yeah, as long
Yeah.
as you have
As long
Wi-Fi,
as
you can send an iMessage.
Yeah, right. As long as you're messaging other Apple users.
Yeah.
well, I just have a small request. Android, just make it able to like just remove
Just
people.
change your whole framework.
just small request. That's it.
Just rework your whole operating.
I still won't buy an Android, but
Yeah,
still,
fair.
you'll make it more tolerable for the rest of us.
Oh, it's so annoying. Anyways,
maxed out lifestyle.
yeah, let's do it. Back.
Maxed out lifestyle. Oh, side note, 2 phones. Is that like a necessary? Like I know we have a business
Yes.
number, But
yes, it's necessary.
Really?
I don't have two phones, but I would definitely have two phones.
Have another phone.
Yeah. And it depends on what level that you get to. But if you're at a point where you're like your phone is ringing all the time, and it's always work.
Yeah.
not to quote Rihanna.
That's a very vague quote.
I wasn't getting Rihanna out of that.
I was. But that's fine.
Sweet. But anyways, but yeah, if you do have like that many people that are calling you for business, and you want to get to a point where like, okay, my business hours are closed, it's 5:00. You could turn that phone off. Everything goes on to voicemail, and nobody has your personal number except for personal friends. That's where it's like absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
But there are people like Mark Cuban who has like 4 phones.
Fair enough.
And he just like I saw a video with him pulling out like so many phones out of pockets that I didn't even know he had, and I was like, that's a little extreme.
Why would you not just have a personal assistant at that point?
Yeah, right.
Or multiple personal assistants?
Well, yeah, at Mark Cuban's level, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Like,
at small business level,
Yes.
no.
Yeah, of course. Fair
But yeah, so I'm a supporter of having 2 phones, no more than 2 phones. If you have more than 2 phones, you're probably selling something that you shouldn't be selling.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Buy a $30
I still got
burner.
a beeper, guys.
Yeah.
You call me, I'll find a payphone and I'll call you back.
Yeah.
I'll call you on one of my other phones.
Just a different phone number every single time.
Talking about that. Actually, I'm a strong advocate too. A competent personal assistant. That's where it's at.
That's like definitely a goal. Like that's like step 1 in like business life. If you can, that's like make decisions in your life that allow you to get a personal assistant.
Absolutely.
Like that's a goal.
Yeah, that is definitely a goal. And if it's not your goal,
I think you need to change your goal.
That's like saying that Android's better than than Apple.
Like you take all the things that you worry about in your maxed out lifestyle, you offload it to somebody who's getting paid to do all the boring stuff, and then you get to do all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Like what is the downside to this?
That is the goal of all of this. Like that should be the goal of every business owner on the planet is like get the business to a point where you can offload all the stuff you don't want to do and you can focus in on the stuff that you do want to do.
Or even like having a personal assistant, somebody that just reminds you, or the fact of you're busy working something and this person is an extension of you. They understand how you think and what they do. They're so intimately like accustomed to you. It's like they know like, oh, you're grinding hard right now. I'm gonna go get you a coffee.
Yeah.
And just come back with like that little thing, or like, hey, don't worry, I know you had these phone calls or these things that you had to do. I took care of it because I know you were so like you were in depth, really working at this thing.
Yeah.
Or even in the creative fields, which is what we're in. The idea that anybody can email, anybody can answer phones, anybody can do this. You can be extremely good at those things, but you're just not a creative person. So let the people who are creative do the creative stuff, and then do the stuff that wastes time from the creative perspective,
quote unquote.
Yeah. Like it's necessary, but it's all like if there's like it's the idea of do the most profitable thing in the moment. We talk. That's the maxed out lifestyle in a sentence is like, what is the most profitable thing I can be doing right now? Profitable not being money, profitable being socially, economically, resourcefully, whatever.
No, that's really good. It's a really good shift. And talking about that too, understand your strengths and weaknesses.
Oh yeah,
know where you can max out and know where you can leverage and prioritize so that things get done.
Yeah. Absolutely. And being honest with yourself on your weaknesses. Everyone has their weaknesses, and you just have to be aware of them. And you can get to a point where you can pay somebody else to do those things that you aren't as good at. You know what I mean? If you're not great at marketing, then you're not great at marketing.
Yeah.
And you can either say, "Oh, I'm going to learn it," or you could just pay somebody who already knows it.
Yeah.
And then you can not worry about that kind of stuff. And you can continue to focus on what you truly love to do. This is like, and a lot of people, especially small business owners, are always like, I have to wear every hat. I have to do everything.
Yeah.
This is my business, and I do everything. And that's fine.
You're going to get maxed out real quick, and you're going to cook it hard.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And the problem is, like, you can't take a vacation.
Yeah.
You can't take time off because the business closes when you leave. And you can't live that. Like, you can't succeed. You can't grow that way.
So I mean, well, yeah, you can't grow that way. And as you're maxed out like that, the minute you fall behind because you wear every hat, you don't have time to recoup. We were talking about that buffer time. If things don't fall into place exactly how they're supposed to be, and you're at 99%, you can't recover from that.
Yeah, and that's why people get burnt out, and that's why people go like ballistic when they're owning a business and they're like 40 years in and they just leave.
Yep.
Because it's all like, you did every single job for 40 years. Like it's like that's insane.
Well, let's hold on. Let's back up and let's take a real life example. We had a meeting the other morning, and Benji texted us. I mean, we have our meetings every day.
Yep.
But it's like, oh well, hey guys, listen, I'm cooked. I'm tired. I'm done. I need a break real quick. I'll be back at the meetings tomorrow. Easy enough. But you have other people that you can trust to be able to take care of whatever had to be taken care of in that day. Yeah. Because I know I pushed it a little bit too hard the day before, or the 3 days before, or the 5 days before. Yeah. So I need to buffer now so that I don't pay for it even worse in the long run.
Yeah. And when you're wearing all the hats and you're the only person running the entire thing, the smallest issue becomes a big issue.
Yeah. Like you said, 99%.
Yeah. That's where it's like.
It's also the idea of minimizing costs. Like the idea that I took a morning off because I had done a couple extra hours in a bunch of different projects, and it's like it was either take that time off then or take that time off when the show had already started. Yeah. Because eventually you're going to need to take it off. Yeah. So it's like, okay, we're doing productive things, but it's less costly for me to be out this day than it is for me to be out this day.
Legit.
And it's like understanding where those costs are, and it's like it's going to cost you something. Everything costs you something. So minimize the cost to yourself.
Yeah,
it's
get
like,
in front of the things, yeah.
Absolutely. We talk about cars all the time where it's like, oh, it costs you a lot less to change the oil than to change the engine.
Yep.
It's all like, so just change the oil. Yeah. Like it's like a time-consuming thing, and you got to pay somebody to do it, and it's a pain, but you got to do it.
Or else you'll be pulling the engine in 50,000 miles.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. And that's a big part of living the maxed out lifestyle, is understanding that you want to live the maxed out lifestyle and the things that you want to live in. You don't want to be the person who checks, like, you don't want to be, all right, there are things that I hate doing.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has those things, but you have to do them very young into your career or whatever. And I still do a couple of the things that I don't like to do because I haven't found somebody to pay for it yet. But once you get those things off of your shelf, like off of your to-do list, and you can offload that to someone else to take care of it, you just opened up so much time. You just created so much time for yourself to do or focus or whatever. If it's more family time that you want to do, if you, like, we'll go back to the regrets. If you were to die in 2 days and your biggest regret is, I wish I spent more time with my family, then these are the things that you really need to start considering. How do you open up the more time now so that you can have the less regrets later? If you can't go do the things you want to do because you don't have time to, which I think a lot of people are probably there, and maybe you need to focus in on how to open up some time.
I mean, I guess we can get really personal too. I just recently put in a 2 weeks notice to at one of my jobs.
Congratulations.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? Yeah,
I think it's good. We've been talking about it for a while. So
it's legit. I mean, the money that I made was really good. I mean, like upwards of $25 an hour. But the fact of, like, okay, so I made this money, but I could also save this money and save my time, and my mental energy and my mental health and my physical health is much more important than that amount of money that I was making. It's like, oh, well, how many times did I say? It's like, I just stop running the water when I brush my teeth, don't go out to eat 2 days a week.
Yeah.
two days a week, and take a shower 1 minute less, and there's that money that I leveraged right back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even saying, like, this project that we're going, Eric and I are going out on the road. We decided that, so we've changed a lot of things in our lives. My personal schedule has been leveraged in the way that still pays my bills, but allows me to go and do this full time. It's like, that's a tough situation to be in for the next probably year to 2 years. It's going to be pretty maxed out, but it's just, that's the cost associated with doing something that you want to do. It's like, if you love something, if you want to progress in something, if you want to move forward in something that you truly love, then you're going to associate a cost with it. It's going to cost something. It's like, so leverage what you want, do it with your whole heart, and eventually it will pay dividends back to you.
And I mean, it's really getting, going back to the one take that we talked about yesterday, it's really getting immersed into whatever you're doing and giving 100% to plan A. I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, I applaud you for what you're doing and saying, okay, I maximize what I'm doing right now so I can immerse into the thing that I'm putting my hands to the plow. And when you're doing what you love, it's not a burden. It's not like, oh God, I gotta take it on the chin, and it's so terrible. It's like, no, I want to do this so bad that I am going to give my 100%, and I don't care if it's sleepless nights. Those are pleasurable and those are worth it to me because I know that I'm maxed out and I'm doing exactly what I want to do and I'm made to do.
Yeah, there's like just yesterday, I was so happy. It was like one of those things where my brother was kind of complaining about his job, and there was like this new kid that came in. He's this great worker, and he was there for like 3 months or whatever. But then he just like put in his 2 weeks, and he was like, "Why'd you do that?" And he's like all upset that he's leaving, and he's like complaining that he's leaving, and now whatever. And the reason he said, he told me that he's like, well, I only wanted to make this amount of money while I was here. Like I had a goal to make X amount of dollars. I've made those X amount of dollars.
Nice.
And now I'm done.
That's it.
And I was just like, I was so happy. I was like, good for that kid, man. I was like, yes, we need to live that kind of life. Like we have to have goals, fulfill them, and then move on. And don't stay longer than you need to stay. Don't stay longer than the original commitment. Because then you start hating the place.
Yeah.
After that.
Well, I'll get real raw. That's kind of really what the toll was on my Friday night job. I mean, I don't care really who hears this. I loved that job. I liked to do that job. I liked staying up all night. I liked the benefits. I liked the money that it produced in my life. And for a long season, I mean, I did this for more than 5 years. For majority of the time, it was a pleasure. Even if things went wrong and I had like a quote unquote bad night at work, it was still like all right. It was still cool. It was fine.
Yeah.
But now, like, especially over the past 3 or 4 months, it's like my mental health, my like if I walk into that job and I'm already like this sucks, this is terrible, like that cost for me of not being happy was not worth the money that I was making. Absolutely. And I mean, and that's tough for a lot of people because I mean that was a profitable job.
Yeah.
But it's like, nope, I'd rather be happy.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll cook this.
Mental health is so expensive, and it's so expensive because you don't see it until it's expensive. That's the thing. It's like mental health only costs you a lot in the end. It's all like your brain will be fine, and then you'll have a mental breakdown and you'll lose it all. It's like, understand that it's something that has to be kept up. You have to work with it. You have to, in the moment you see something that's chipping away at it, you have to fix that right now.
Yeah. I guess we'll leave it there. There's the ducks.
Thanks for listening to the Life Podcast. If you like the show, please rate us on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us out. If you feel like supporting us in a more direct way, you can check out our Patreon page linked in the description of this video. One last thing. Please let your friends know about the podcast. If you like the show, we're sure they'll like it too. If you'd like to reach out to us, send us an email at thelifepodcastshow@gmail.com. We appreciate all of your support, and we'll see you next time. Okay, now let's have a little bit more fun with that, Benji. I don't like to have fun, Eric.